Greetings, fellow procrastinators. Tiki here.
And Jacob Weil, too.
And welcome to a long delayed installment of Tiki's Universe, where we'll be talking over the part one of three of the last three pairings of episodes that aired for Milo Murphy's Law season one. Jacob, we're a little bit behind, but it's good to be back. We ended on a strong one. We ended on an episode that really shed some light on the Pistachio Gentleman and also gave them a reason to zero in on Milo. And these pairings of episodes very much continued that story. So how you doing? How do you feel about these episodes?
Oh, I enjoy them, these two particularly very much so.
Yeah, I think these are. I think this is a strong pairing. I think Going to the Zoo is more kind of like the fun, wacky episode, and then School Dance, which we'll get to, is the more character-driven episode, of course. So let's start with Going to the Zoo. Of course, we start with the the great gag of Melissa just chilling in the pool when she's supposed to be studying, and that's like the reason she's not participating in the episode.
That's the kind of behind it.
But who is participating in this episode is Milo, Sam, and Zach. Yeah.
Who's Sam?
Oh wait, I'm sorry. What's
Sarah?
Sarah. Oh wow. I'm dumb.
I don't think there even is a Sam in this show.
Probably not. I was just thinking her name was Sam, short for Samantha. I'm dumb. I'm sorry. I'm embarrassed.
It's fine.
It's been a while.
He isn't really in a lot of this series anyway, so it's kind of easy to forget her name. Like, I kind of forgot her name before when I was like trying to flutter my way through the previous time we tried this episode.
Right.
Murphy's Law caught up with us in the last show.
Oh yeah, I was just like, okay, I'm going to do everything I can to keep this going. But anyways. So yeah, this episode's pretty fun. I don't think either of these episodes really meet the height of the last two episodes, but they are a good addition to the series. Jacob, I want to talk a little bit about, of course, we referenced Perry the platypus in a very direct way at the start of the episode.
Like, why is this platypus teal? Plus, it's kind of implied that the explosion in Milo's door was actually caused by Perry. Due to the fact that his music showed up.
Yeah, and then of course we get the reference to basically DOG basically being the fill-in for Perry on the show.
God.
I just love how casually Milo mentions like DOG loves otters. That's adorable. Like DOG just has a fondness for otters. I'm like, oh.
That is pretty cute.
Of course, the episode's premise is pretty simple.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, speaking of the pistachios, let's talk about gentlemen. Let's talk about their this.
Yeah, and I actually don't have any pictures of them in the episode, so I'm sorry. You know what? This picture is a pretty good kind of poster for the episode, so let's just stick on this picture. But yes, the Pistachio Gentleman. Yes, please.
So they're sent by their boss, who has every confidence in their ability to screw it up yet again.
Actually, we'll just go to them here.
Yep, just sends them to the zoo, which Vinny really is fun of. We're going to the zoo and we're gonna see some animals.
We're gonna see some animals,
which he's particularly very excited about.
Yes. And I love how the it gets switched over where Dakota is the one who kind of initially notices Milo, but then I'm sorry, Jacob, what's his name? Cavendish? Jacob, help me out, please. I'm drowning, Jacob. Oh no.
Okay, so I think it's okay. The audio, I think we're clear now.
What's the name of the British Pistachio Gentleman, Jacob? I'm blanking on it.
Balthazar Cavendish.
Cavendish, yes. That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, I was right the first time. Okay. I like how Cavendish is the one who really picks up on the Milo conspiracy theory after Vinny kind of like probably casually points it out to him, like, "Hey, isn't it weird that Murphy kid keeps following us around?" Don't you think that's great that it's like Cavendish is now the guy who's just kind of like, "Oh my gosh, Dakota, you're right. Yes, yes, there's a giant conspiracy behind it, and we shall unravel it."
Yeah, and then Dakota, it's almost like in their own way, they're both kind of crazy.
Right. Like Dakota's more of just kind of the man child who just wants to have fun, and then Cavendish is just kind of like the crazy, like, super serious like guy who's wound to the point of he can snap at any moment. He's so wound up.
And believes that pretty much any minor and just a string of minor inconveniences leads to a whole conspiracy.
Oh yeah, really fun part of the episode.
And the fact, and also the fact that Dakota's mother's maiden name is password backwards.
Sure.
It's grouse sap.
Okay, so back to Milo though. I like the roundabout way the premise works itself out. It's kind of like a punchline where they're trying to retrieve the mother's shirts that they accidentally donated, but then it turns out at the end, like, oh no, I was gonna give those to you. I was gonna give you the shirts to donate. And so they went through all the trouble, like riding ostriches, chasing monkeys on giraffes, just crazy, outlandish cartoon stuff that I love in animation. It's why I love cartoons, that you can get away with stuff like that and have it be fine.
And it's an old gag that's been done before, but they make it work here.
It's so fun. It's just so fun. But yeah, I really like that punchline of the episode, with the mom. And of course, she's also bought the recycled band t-shirt made from old band t-shirts. Which was exactly the fate that they were like horrified would befall these t-shirts.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, really fun stuff. Jacob, one of the things
I was gonna say was they actually did put another Phineas and Ferb reference in this episode, besides the platypus one.
Okay, go for it.
The squirrels in my pants.
Oh God, I'm not as familiar with that reference. I'm like Captain America. I don't get that reference.
After we're done here, look up "Squirrels in My Pants" exam.
Okay, sounds good.
I'll send you a link to it later.
Sounds good.
But that is a reference to a Phineas. That's a reference to a very popular Phineas and Ferb song.
What?
Oh, I was stopping so you could say something.
Sorry. I don't know. One of the things I was going to bring up with you about the episode is, how do you feel about this transitioning point in the stylistic nature of the show, where it feels like instead of getting like maybe one song every other episode, we're not just getting a song an episode, but we're also getting a song that kind of like resonates throughout the course of the episode, like this "We're Going to the Zoo" song kind of, it kind of bounces all over the episode. You know what I mean? How do you feel about that stylistically? I feel like it's much more like it's another thing that kind of gets closer to the DNA of Phineas and Ferb.
Well, Phineas and Ferb really didn't have songs that carried out to the episodes. Really, they had a single song per episode, and sometimes more than one, depending on the case.
I guess I'm just thinking of like, they had songs that were kind of like the focal points of the episodes, much like the "We're Going to the Zoo" song is here. And B, like you mentioned, probably like they have multiple songs, which is something we haven't seen on Milo yet, as far as I can remember.
As far as I can tell, there hasn't been as far as I can remember, there hasn't been a Milo episode with 2 songs in it, unless you count the whole opera thing. But technically, they're like. Technically, stringing them together, that could be accounted as like one song, or
right.
I don't know. So it still gave us Weird Al singing opera with Tony Soprano. So,
oh my God, that was beautiful. And so, just and any last words on "We're Going to the Zoo"? Because I'm kind of it's a fun episode. It's the Pistachio Gentleman. You got to feel so bad for the Pistachio Gentleman at this point, because now that we know what's on the line for them when they protect the pistachios, it just makes it all the more like every time the pistachios go down the drain, they're just like, no, they're going to disappoint Mark Hamill.
Yeah. I have complete confidence in you guys to completely class it up like you do every other mission.
Oh, God.
It's a wonder they even still have a job.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Any other parting thoughts on we're going to the zoo?
Not particularly.
Okay.
I think we pretty much covered it. I mean, you can't really top Milo riding an ostrich chasing a monkey on a giraffe.
All right. Well, let's transition to the school dance. Yeah. Dragon, I kind of wanted to build up to this image, but we're talking about Weird Al and fan service, and I mean, come on. Milo gets to bust out a freaking accordion this episode. I'm just like, hell yes. And if that's going to be a signature of the Milo character from now on, because we see him with it in Battle of the Bands, I'm like, you know what it reminds me of, Jacob? It kind of reminds me of those weird 90s comedian-based animated shows. Like, I'm talking something like Life with Louie or Bobby's World. You know what I mean? Where it'd be like a comedian who'd have like who'd have the voice and persona of a kid in a TV show. I don't know if you know what I mean.
I understand the premise of what you mean.
All right.
I don't recognize any of those particular shows you just mentioned, but I do understand the premise.
Like celebrity shows where they're not just voicing themselves, but they're voicing this animated kind of like child version of themselves. And I don't know. Then again, like Howie Mandel, it's kind of different with Bobby's World with Howie Mandel, because Bobby's World is based on Howie Mandel's childhood, but it's not actually Howie Mandel doing the voice of Bobby. Life with Louie is
this isn't exactly a children's show, but kind of like Everybody Loves Chris. Everybody hates Chris too.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's I don't know. I'm getting kind of sidetracked here, but my point is what I'm trying to. I just really like Milo as kind of like an avatar for Weird Al.
In a way, kind of like mainly just with the accordion.
I mean, yeah, with the accordion, but I also think just the personality in general, and he's just a very childlike embodiment of Weird Al in a lot of ways, just in terms of his personality and his easy-going nature and, his sense of humor and whatnot.
I guess that's why that character fits. That's why he fits so well with the voice of the character.
Definitely. But
ironically, speaking of songs, we haven't really seen Milo actually sing Weird Al sing that much this season.
No. I think they're kind of holding out. It's.
I mean, really, the only songs he sang were the title song. We're rooting for the enemy.
Right.
And like I said, like I mentioned before, singing opera with the guy who sounds like Tony Soprano. So it's actually good that they actually use him more than just like, hey, you can sing, so here you go.
Yeah, you're right, and but I do like, like I said, I like the fact that they're incorporating a lot of his personality as well. It very much feels like Weird Al is infused into this show.
Like he's doing more than just singing and all that.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yes. And so I have to agree with you on that for as far as that goes.
So let's talk about my favorite shipping of the show, which is Mylanda.
I could never think of a name for those, but that's actually a good one.
Mylanda.
Yes.
Oh, Mylanda.
I couldn't think of a name for the pairing, but you actually just came up with a good one, so that's what I'll call it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think these two are adorable together. We talked about them one other time with the opera episode, of course.
Yeah, like so back then it wasn't known if she reciprocated. Like, I mean, it was kind of hinted that he kind of did that, but now it's just kind of like, yep, but they think they both do, in fact, like each other.
And even still, even in this episode, it takes a while, because Milo's just offering his help, and she's very put off by it. She's just like, no, you're just gonna. And this kind of goes back to the whole base premise of the show, Jacob, is the kid who has to deal with Murphy's Law would have kind of that two sides of the same coin where, yeah, he has to deal with his bad luck, but he's also so prepared for the bad luck that he also ends up saving the day in a lot of situations.
And he's not brought down by it either.
Sure.
He maintains
So,
a lot of people could be brought down by it, like, or be pessimistic, but nope, he brings the positive side to it.
So I really like this episode in general is pretty understated for the destruction. You know what I mean? It's I mean, just in comparison to other episodes, it's like I do like how Milo like it's more about Milo fixing things than it is about like, oh, look at all the crazy destruction happening.
And it shows that he's actually good at fixing things too, instead of just being the catalyst for the destruction.
Yeah, and stylistically, I think that works really well. I think it shows how you can have a lot of different takes on the same premise, which I think is something that people were questioning in the early episodes of the show, how much you could actually get out of a premise like this, and I think they're handling it quite well. Of course, I also like that Melissa's. I'm sorry, I also like that Melissa's a very OCD character mixed with Milo, opposites attract and whatnot.
Yeah, and like Amanda even pointed out that he even made it look better than it was before.
He did, yeah.
he improved the way it looked.
Mm-hmm.
So it just proves that there's more, and she realizes that there's more to Milo than meets the eye, than just the guy who who accidentally makes chaos happen.
Yeah, there's also a sweet guy who plays the accordion.
Oh, when after fixing the school, fixing it and realizing what he did, she and a kind of also a spoof of Cinderella.
yes, there is a quick Cinderella reference in there. Yes,
where he loses his loafers and all that.
Mm-hmm.
To which she actually realized, like, maybe there's more to him than me. Yeah, she even asked him to dance.
Oh, it's adorable.
She likes him. Or at least she just appreciates enough so she'd be willing to dance with him instead of just. And the thing is, though, she's actually willing to have fun with herself instead of outsourcing it.
Sure.
Remember, she was outsourcing it earlier. Now she's like willing to do it herself.
Right.
Because, and maybe that's some slight character development on her side.
I'm sure it is. Yeah. Okay, so let's transition from that to the last thing we'll talk about here before we sign off, Dragon, is the pistachio gentleman in this episode. Oh, God.
Where it crosses over where they actually get to cross over with Melissa and Zach.
Mm-hmm. So, first of all, I'm really starting to grow pretty fond of Draco, like Mr. Draco.
Yeah, Mr. Draco. Yeah, the person everybody thinks is a vampire.
Yeah, it's just like, look, it seems like he is a vampire. Like, if I were to put money down on it, like one way or another, I would say yes, he probably is a vampire. But he is just the most pleasant vampire, and they say, as they say in this episode, he's our vampire. Damn it!
Yeah, which Melissa, which I maintain he's not. And not to spoil anything, but in a future episode, we actually do see him kind of hiding out in a locker. So,
well, yeah, of course, that's what I'm saying. It just like it starts to get more. There's more and more evidence to it as this show goes on, for sure.
Like he picks out the black cape that says makes him look like a superhero. But
oh god, yeah, superhero, sure.
But evil. It's the accent. But yeah, he's either he's just like a very eccentric person, or he is in fact a vampire.
But of course, a really good gag in the episode, probably one of my favorite gags in the episode, comes when they like the kids build up in their head this like huge like face off between Draco and the pistachio gentleman, who they think are vampire hunters because of the wooden stakes.
Or it's like, I didn't think it was that kind of party.
And it just ends with like literally them just being like super duper polite to each other. Like I forget exactly how it goes. Don't the gentleman like drop one of the stakes and like Draco just very politely hands it to them?
It's like, oh, excuse me.
Oh, excuse me, sir. It's like, oh my god. We also have, like, I won't spoil the gag entirely, but there's a gag in the Battle of the Band episode, which, just shall we say, is another gag that plays on expectations. You know what I'm getting at?
I believe so.
Okay, good. I don't want to give it away until we get to that episode, but that's another gag where I just like think it's a home run. But yeah, anyways, folks, I think that's about it, Jacob, unless you have any other parting thoughts about this episode.
I can't really think of anything. I mean, they do. I mean, the fact that they cross the celestial gentleman cross paths with Melissa and Zach, and the other guy's name is pretty funny too. like it's like he has powers you can't even imagine. They think he's good. They think, but then that leads them to further fuel their conspiracy towards Milo.
All right, Jacob. So, of course, we've got 2 more pairs of episodes to go with Milo Murphy's Law. We'll crack those out as soon as we can, hopefully by the end of this current calendar week. And then, Jacob, we're going to be diving into Tangled, the animated series, starting with a full-length fan commentary on Tangled Ever After, the TV movie, which starts everything off, followed by weekly recaps of the episodes as we get to them. And also, Jacob, just announced, hot off the presses, the latest addition to our lineup on Tiki's Universe, Jacob. Rick and Morty Season 3. What?
Yeah, Morty. We're going to have these do Season 3, right?
We have to recap Season 3, Morty. It's all about the Szechuan sauce, Morty. Jacob and Tiki have to recap all of our adventures, Morty. They have to recap it. They have to talk about all our quotes, Morty, and all our memorable adventures and character development. Oh, geez, Rick, I miss the days when our shows used to be standalone episodes. Well, those days are done, Morty. We've got a serialized plot this time around, and because we've got a serialized plot, we need people like Tiki and Jacob, Morty. We need people like them to recap our adventures for us.
Are you sure that's a good idea, Tiki?
All right.
Rick, are you sure that's a good idea, Rick?
All right, you get the point. Jacob, I know you haven't finished Season 2, but you have to finish that as soon as possible so we can talk about Season 3, Episode 1, The Rick Shank Redemption, which is a fantastic episode. It brought about the Szechuan sauce meme, which I think is hilarious.
No. To get into that.
All right, so just to check it up, we're gonna be finishing up Milo Murphy Season 1. We're going to be diving into Tangled. Come summertime, we're going to be getting into Rick and Morty Season 2, or Season 3, I should say, and also DuckTales, the reboot. And anything else? Big Hero 6 eventually when that comes out.
We actually know in the fall.
Yeah. And I think that's about it. But yeah,
which has been renewed for a second season.
Awesome. So, all right, folks. But thanks for your patience, and yeah.
Join us tomorrow for a brand new installment of Disney Debates.
Yeah. I can't wait for that. I'm going to be defending my title, Jacob. I'm going to be I'm going to join Dragon in the undefeated department.
And I'm going to be the host.
Yeah. All right. So in the meantime, folks, don't forget one thing. It's his world, but we're all living in it. I don't know, Morty. I don't know about this Milo Murphy kid, Morty. He just seems like he's bad luck, Morty. Just why does all this bad luck keep following this Milo Murphy kid around, Morty? Oh, jeez, Rick, he's starting to remind me of myself. Oh.